everyone, welcome to Superhero Speak, and I'm your host, Dave.
And I'm John.
JD here. Welcome back.
Yes, welcome back to Wanda Talk.
Come on, everybody's asking about it. We know you want it.
All right.
It's become our thing. We spent like 40 minutes on it last week.
I know.
Well, so here's the thing. I was thinking about that though. When's the last time that a show that purported to be, all mysterious and keep you on your toes and constantly have twists and everything? When was the last time a show had this good writing?
Oh, I agree. I can't think of one, to be honest with you.
Like
that's
Lost,
delivered like this.
I thought Lost and Heroes tried to be like this, but there's just no they couldn't do it, right?
Season 1 is really good.
Of Lost?
Yeah, no, Heroes. The first season of Heroes is really good.
Well, yeah, but the ending was a total bust. Like you're expecting
the
this
first
huge
season.
Yeah,
the first season was pretty good.
You're expecting this huge battle between the guy who absorbed powers and the guy who took powers, and it turned into nothing.
Well, it was network TV in the mid 2000s.
I know.
But yes, no, I agree. But that was the problem with Heroes, is I don't think they had a plan past season 1.
Oh God, no.
Or a budget to do anything really cool. I mean, let's face it. So, but even so, like the thing is, Marvel's got so many, they have so many advantages that all these other shows don't. You've got the Marvel universe that they've spent, 12 years putting together. They've got all of the comic book stuff they can punch into it. And as far as I can tell, they are just like, do these things have a cap on the money per show? Because
whatever Disney says.
Yeah, and I think they all have a ridiculous budget, these shows.
But the writing is just so good.
Yeah, Marvel, man.
So
shit works.
All right, so before we get into Wanda talk, how was everyone's week? John, how was your week? How are you doing?
Well, Wanda, Vision, Wanda, Vision. No.
I get
it was fine. It was fine. Nothing to report, just blah. Good. I'm still working on trying to make a good loaf of sourdough. You can't really make a bad one, but I'm trying to get up to like a level where it's really, really good, So,
right.
So my sourdough starter hasn't become sentient yet, but
so it hasn't quite started.
Yeah. That was bad.
That's what I do.
So yeah, nothing else to report.
Okay. How about you, JD?
Boy, I'm lonely.
I was just telling Dave I would not wish being alone on anybody. I've been alone most of my life, and I would not wish it on anybody. And I was just saying that you aren't used to it.
I last week I was like, man, I'm getting so much done. Like, it was great. I'm like, this is awesome. And then like Thursday night, I looked around. I'm like, God, this is quiet. Like it was weird. And I talked to my wife today on the phone, and she's like, he won't listen to anybody, and he's doing this. So I think when my wife comes back, I'm gonna give her like a week in a hotel by herself, and just take off work completely and be dad, because this really is a lot on her.
Just at least until she looks around and says, God, it's quiet.
Yeah, I think she's kind of earned it, because like she looks so frazzled today. I felt so bad for her, and she's trying to, it's not like she took off work, like she's working at the same time. And my father-in-law's a farmer, so this 4-year-old, not to entertain himself, but I mean, like, has to behave for a couple hours, like not a couple hours, so a few hours a day while my wife works, and my father-in-law like tends to the animals and stuff. And it's tough. It's tough on everyone right now.
He can go play on the farm, find some abandoned well to fall into, and then
here's the problem. We have sub freezing temperatures. It's below zero in Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota right now.
Oh wow.
Probably Iowa too, but who cares about Iowa?
True.
I mean, it's freaking cold out, man. So
no offense to our fans in Iowa.
I mean, perfect offense to Iowa. You know what you did. No, so it's other than that, it's just it's fine. Yeah, I just missed my family. Got a lot of work done. Wrote 15,000 words this weekend. I should be close to finishing this next novel and getting it off to my editor, and I'm hoping to get that new Kickstarter up. I was hoping March. April's looking more realistic.
Nice. You say it's below zero. It's like here we're having a cold snap now where over the next week it'll be in the 20s, and at night it could get into single digits, which is not normal cold for us, but it's not unusual either.
Yeah, we get this for a while, but it's going to be all week for like 10 straight days. We're going to be like around 1 or 2 degrees with like wind chills and like negative 15s and stuff like that. Like the Midwest is stupid, man.
Yeah.
It gets stupid cold here, and it gets stupid hot in the summer.
I went to Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota once. I was I forget what I went for, but a rube from the Northeast, like it's February, and I say, okay, well, I need to get to this building, so I'll just go out onto the sidewalks and walk through the streets. And some guy was like,
foolish man, you foolish man, you.
Some guy's like, are you stupid? Like, use the walkways. That's what they're for. Like, what are your walkways? They're skyways between all the buildings. I didn't know that. They were all connected.
Minnesota gets cold, man. Chicago it's not nearly as bad as Minnesota gets. Minnesota, and again, that's Minneapolis on the same like latitudinal plane as where my father-in-law lives. So it's balls cold now.
Yeah, like in New York, you'll get snow on the ground this time of year. But in Minnesota, I looked down from the skyways and it's just like icebergs,
Mm-hmm.
I got lost, found the Wall of America. It was great,
I couldn't shovel my driveway last week because there was ice under the snow. So you're just like, well, I'm not going anywhere today. Walk back in the house and give up. I told my wife I want to get a blowtorch, right? Because I think that's what'll finally get rid of it. So if I can because I saw a guy on the internet do this. I'm like, I've been flirting with this idea for years in jest. And now I'm like, this guy actually manned up and did it. And now I want to follow suit and just blow fire all over the place to melt
use the same thing that they use for roofs when they're melting the tar to put the tiles down.
I've never seen that. I'd like to.
It's a big torch thing where you can just kind of.
I need to call a roofer. Thank you. I'll take a note. Sure, they're not busy this time of year.
Oh my God.
Well, you come out and find some nice tar tiles on your driveway.
Ice. They wouldn't be busy this time of year here.
Well, this is when people find out they have problems with the roofs.
Yeah.
Yes, but you don't get them fixed this time of year because it's ice, man. Ice. We have sub-zero temperatures. I know. Mr. Freeze would be at home.
Where you are.
Back in the superheroes. Yes.
Where you are, but where we are, people are getting. In fact, a friend of mine was just posted today that she had a roofer over who was working on a roof. So.
Burr. So yeah, that's what's going on. How about you, Dave? How's life?
Yeah, how's the weather at your place?
Yeah, no, that's the thing too. Because like I went to I usually take the bus or an Uber to the gym, work out, and walk home because it's 2.5 miles, right? And I was like, the sun will be up by the time I'm done. It'll get warm. It was 19 degrees, and I know it's not as cold as where you are, JD. But
I'm not dumb enough to walk outside 19 degrees though either. Like I know better.
But when you've been sweating and you're only in sweats,
huge mistake. You're lucky you're not dead.
No,
hypothermia.
Fine. Yeah, but other than risking hypothermia, I don't know. I've had a very weird week, and it's I don't know. It's hard to explain, and it's stuff that if I talk about on here, people are going to think I'm crazy. So
they already think that, Dave.
They've been in this long.
Yeah. So yeah. It's needless to say that I've made a new interesting. I actually started talking to someone online. This not in a romantic way, just as like a friend way, who's a cosplayer. And we started talking, and like all of a sudden it's like, oh, she's been to New York Comic Con. She's been to conventions in Philly. So it's like, oh, we've probably crossed paths at some point. I'm sure John has taken a picture of her.
It's not Raw yet, is it? I know a few. I know a few cosplayers like Rolyat or.
Well, she's not a professional cosplayer, but she does. She dresses up as Wonder Woman and Raven are her two main ones, and she's.
I've seen a Raven. I've seen a couple of Ravens,
and she's
but I've
6 feet tall, so you would remember her. You know,
that's a tall girl.
Yeah,
that's not no.
It's not a tall girl. 6 feet tall is a tall.
No. I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm thinking of was it No Makeup Mom or whatever. So, but that's
no.
I know, like I said, I know a few cosplayers apparently.
No, but yeah, it was just so weird. Like we were just we both belong to the same group on Facebook, and we just started talking. It was like all of a sudden, like, oh, yeah, I've been here, and I'm like, we probably have run into each other. So, um, yeah. So, but yeah, no, it was an interesting week. But yeah, no, I'm not going to say. I'll save it for later.
Moving
right.
on.
Move along.
It wasn't as interesting though as WandaVision.
Nothing
was
is
that?
interesting.
Was
as
that
now.
interesting? Can I do it now? Can I do
Sure.
it now? Can I do it? I told you so.
Told who, what, where?
I told on this program at 4 a.m. because, oh, by the way, vaccine, one of the vaccine side effects I did not know there was horrible diarrhea. So
well,
heads
that's
up to
just
everybody.
fun.
Heads up, because I learned that the hard way. But it got me up early to watch WandaVision on Thursday or on early Friday morning. So at 4 a.m, I literally posted like in shouting, "I told you so," because I called it on this show 3 weeks ago that Evan Peters would be Quicksilver, the Quicksilver from the X-Men films. I said it.
You see, everybody, you hear that phone? You better pick it up because JD called it.
I like that. I made a lot of proclamations in the show. Very few of them have come true. So now that one actually does work, I have to make sure that I get my flowers. I like roses. Bring them to me.
I personally, I go with edible arrangements, but all right.
Then I will eat them. That's the problem. I'm not going to eat the flowers.
Well,
my wife likes roses. Perhaps we'll get them for her later when she gets back. Anyway, what a great episode.
Yeah, because it's funny because I mean, obviously everyone's talking about the cameo at the end, but which isn't a cameo.
It's not even the most interesting part.
It's not a cameo. He's going to be in a few episodes. Like this this has been confirmed. But the episode itself, the whole focusing on like Vision realizing, well, something's going on here. Like this isn't normal, and the almost fight by the end of the episode, that was
really cool.
But we also now know, like absolutely know for sure, that even though Wanda is controlling that reality, somebody's influencing
somebody else is there.
Yes. And it's like it, because everybody and they're playing it really cagey because everybody's like, you have to stop, but they're not saying who. And who I'm sure is Emma Caulfield.
I heard an interesting theory on who she is today.
It couldn't be the sometime X-Men, white.
Emma Frost?
Yeah, Emma Frost.
Maybe. There've been a lot of Emma Frost. Actually, someone pontificated today that it was Clea from Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange's one time wife, girlfriend, I forget what she actually was.
That makes
been a major character since the 80s.
It makes sense.
Well, but the thing is that I mean the whole point of this again, like you're more and more sure as you go along that this whole thing was so that she would create those children.
Yes.
I mean, we're going with the Mephisto thing.
But that's the other thing. Like they're controlling the whole thing. She obviously doesn't control the twins.
Right. No. Well, that would make sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they're going with Mephisto.
If they're going with this, I'm assuming the twins have more, because in the comics, the twins don't really have a purpose, right? It's just manifestations of Wanda's craziness. It sure seems like this time around, this interpretation of the character, the twins have a focus. Like they're there for a reason. We don't know what reason that is quite yet, but they're here and they're aging fast. I love that the twins have completely destroyed any sense of like normalcy that the family can have, because that's what kids do. They destroy any sense of normalcy in your life. And it's perfect. And they're like, can we have a puppy? Sparky, Tom King, I love it. And then
Sparky dies no matter what reality he's in.
Does he?
That's what I've heard, right?
Did he die?
He
did, but did he?
I'm not the Marvel guy, but
I'm
Sparky
saying
died in the comics too.
Sparky's but he's a robot. He's an android in the comics. This time around, we just have Agnes hold. That whole scene was very, very weird, right? This whole show was very, very weird.
Oh, you mean when she broke out of character? Yeah. And she's like,
that scene was weird too. That was pretty cool too. No, I mean when she jumped out of the bushes and she had the dog wrapped up in the thing. And I was like, okay, you found the dog, but why are you hiding literally in a bush? Like that whole sequence. And then Wanda has to give the hypocritical, when you die, you have to let something go thing.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know,
It may not be hypocritical. I mean,
it was
somebody's
her for
influencing
her
her, right?
sake, but she did it division, you know.
Well, yeah, but she's being influenced. So
She's being influenced, but was she being influenced to get the vision? I don't think so. Like it's definitely hypocritical.
See, think about it though. So every time something, every time she seems like she's going to break out, something happens to, I don't know, pull her away
Oh yeah,
from
no,
that train of thought. So
absolutely.
like Pietro,
Mhm.
well, you know, was it recast Pietro, showing up, right? And her saying, they're saying, looking at Vision, saying, "I didn't do this." And it's
Mhm.
like, so somebody else is controlling stuff. So it might be that they are using her. They're
Yes.
using Vision through her they're
It's
using Vision basically to make her do what they
it's
want her to do.
I don't think I think I'm not saying you're wrong. I think there's a lot of truth to that. But I don't think bringing Vision back was anyone else's doing but hers, because that's what she wanted. She wants that life. She clearly wants that idyllic, not suburban life, but like facsimile of a suburban life.
So
Facsimile?
Facsimile. Yeah.
I can never say that word. Facsimile of a suburban life that results in the sitcom world. Like I think, and because she brought the twins to life, the whole thing is like it's supposed to be hypocritical coming from her. I love it.
Yeah, but again, she's not quite in her right mind, you know?
Definitely not in the right mind.
I'm going to throw this out there, and it might ruin the show.
Dave, did you read spoilers?
No.
Oh, okay.
What spoilers?
No, the theory. This theory might ruin the show.
Oh, okay, go for it. I got theories too.
Everybody's got theories.
If it is Mephisto, did she make a deal with the devil to bring Vision back?
It's possible.
So
it's possible. It's entirely possible.
Yeah,
that could be that. You could, because that's a play on One More Day, really.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. It's
Yeah.
a One More Day scenario.
I don't know One More Day. So
One More Day is a Spider-Man story where he sells his marriage to Mephisto for reasons.
Oh.
It's one of the worst Spider-Man stories ever written.
Was that one of the ones that they used to
that was the big
retcon? So they wasn't married anymore?
Yep. He literally gave the marriage, the existence of the marriage to.
He saved an old woman.
What a shit.
Who they ended up killing off later anyway.
Yeah.
Did they kill? I don't even remember. But yeah, so what if this is like, we'll give you Vision back, but I want the children. So that's possible. I get what I'm reading your mail. I dig it.
Yeah.
Now I've heard when Evan Peters showed up, I got so excited because all I see is the possibility and the potential. Because like, regardless of whether or not, because at first I was convinced he was Pietro, like he was that world's Pietro, the X-Men universe's Pietro, Peter in that world. Regardless of whether or not he is, the door is open to 20th Century Fox.
Yeah.
So now we can get anything, right? Yep. It's all back on the table. I'm gonna hold this one till the end. Dave knows where I'm going. I'm gonna hold it for a while, but like, we can literally, like, there is no restarting of the X-Men universe. We could just take what we want. Like, it's all on the table. And we've joked about that they got to have Deadpool at some point. They really should.
Sounds like DC. Sounds like DC Rebirth. It's not a full retcon. It's just let's take the good parts of what worked and leave the back.
Right.
Yeah, because why not? Like, we could, especially with the 20th Century X-Men universe, which, much like DC Comics, has been rebooted and reworked a couple times.
Yeah.
So the potential excites me.
So here's a question: if this is paying off on the potential, literally opening that door was opening the door to the multiverse,
the forbidden door for my wrestling
fans. But it wasn't her. Somebody else
sent her 100%.
Somebody to distract her again.
So opening the door to the multiverse, and this leads into Multiverse of Madness. Like, are they going to collapse the universes together, or is that going to be Doctor Strange trying to put everything back the way it should be? Like,
don't know.
That sounds like it could. That's a possibility.
Definitely a possibility.
Can I?
Yeah, go for it.
No good. I just want to make, like, we're thinking about in respect to universes and stuff. You remember in Guardians of the Galaxy and a few of the other shows, like the Universal Neural Transportation Network, when the ships fly through and it's a
Oh yeah,
hex,
yeah.
and it's a hexagon.
Oh well, the hex, yes, the hex thing too is Wanda's hex. That's what she does. She puts
Right.
hex.
Hex
She
powers.
puts she
Right,
puts
but they're
hexes on things.
they're
So they-
basically artificial wormholes into other space, right?
damn it, John, that's pretty good. I like that.
And yeah, it's just, I mean, I it could also, it's like I mean, this is how deep the writing is. It's like, yes, it's both like it plays right into the wormholes into different universes that we've already seen, and hexagon, hex power. I mean,
Mhm.
you know,
It
it's
all
just
fits.
like it's brilliant.
It all fits. You know, and tying back in the 80s thing, right? This was was called this the episode was titled a very special episode, really playing on those 80s sitcoms where like they would get really serious for an episode when like,
Yeah,
the guy tried to kidnap Arnold on Different Strokes and stuff like that. So I
Mhm.
thought that was really cool when they played into
Or
that whole aspect.
on Family Ties, when the drunk uncle played by Tom Hanks shows up.
And that's exactly what they did at the end
Mhm.
when they had Pietro show up. I thought the same thing.
Well, he
I'm
had
like,
the
oh,
Jesse,
he's
he had the
like
Jesse, he had the Jesse coat on from Family
he
Ties.
did because that
Or
intro
not Family
that
Ties. What was it?
Full House,
Full
because that
House, yeah.
intro was both Family Ties and Full House, because they
Yeah.
took a little bit of, because the house is a little bit Keaton, it's also a little bit Tanner, right?
Mhm.
And that intro, they got the painting, which was, it was actually a little bit growing pains too. They did the painting and the kids, like the growing up faces, like they did on growing pains, and they did like the tracking shots that they have that were in the Full House intro, which is kind of cool because it's an Olsen, But I mean,
Well, the end where they're running towards the camera.
that's exactly
that
Full
was
House.
exactly Full House.
Yeah, that's totally the shot. So it's a tracking shot
Mhm.
from Full House.
Mhm.
So I have a question. Tangent. We're talking about.
That's what we do.
We're talking about the house. Do you think that is a actual set that exists, or are they using the same technology as the Mandalorian?
I think they're using sets because they're going on the stairs and stuff like that.
That's true.
That's easy. Like building a house set's really easy. Like
yeah, but they're redoing it for every episode.
But it's only 9. That's really the major set. Like they don't really have a lot of other sets.
Again, it doesn't, like, they probably have some of these sets like we're talking about how these sets mimic other sets. They probably had parts of these sets around and they just like put them together, and it's Marvel. They buy whatever the hell they want. And
It's
if they don't
Disney.
have it, they're probably dropping $1 million just on the sets.
But building sets isn't very like that's not expensive. Like
Yeah.
you're talking about a house set. Like I said, some average carpenters can throw that stuff up in an afternoon and make it, and set dressers will make it look great. Like it's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Like so that's not the hard part. The rest of the stuff is I think that totally might be the video walls. But the set, quote unquote, I think it's just a set to kind of play into the the TV show aspect of it.
So now they absolutely positively know that Wanda's powers isn't just telekinesis and mind bending, that she is literally warping reality. And her, it was it let's see, photons, whatever her name, Monica's suit from the 60s was like, or 70s, was full on like mostly Kevlar.
Mhm.
Yeah, Kevlar and flower print, for the women.
I love that. That was great.
But when they were talking about that stuff, first off, so Monica is pissed at oh my god,
faceless corporate bad guy that we don't know that is
well no, he's
Marvel.
obviously a bad guy, but she's pissed at Captain Marvel first off. And second off, she didn't name drop, but she did say that there was an aerospace engineer that would be interested in that. Okay, so is that Reed Richards, or is that like?
No, I don't think that's too small time to introduce Reed Richards, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like I've heard that right away. I think we're supposed to think it's Reed Richards. I think more likely is like either Riri Williams or Adam Bashir, the Blue Marvel. I think those are probably more likely what you're going to get.
Blue Marvel would be interesting
because he works with,
but he's way overpowered.
We're dealing with Wanda.
What?
We're dealing with Wanda.
Yeah.
This is true. This is true. Like,
Like,
you know,
and it could, like I said, I think that's a misdirection. I think they want us to think because they haven't even cast the Fantastic Four yet, or at least not even announced. I suppose it could be Reed, but this is kind of a. I don't want them to backdoor Reed Richards like this. Like I want
true.
that to be more of a moment, but I'm glad they're making us think it. There's also the theory that Mephisto is actually this version of Pietro. That Evan Peters is playing Mephisto, which I'd be cool with. I think that because it's like his demeanor is different. He's not playing the character the same. And I'm like, you know what? Even from that brief appearance, they're right. He's not acting like the way that just the way he's carrying himself is different.
I still think Emma Caulfield has something to do with this, though.
This,
I mean,
she
like,
very well might.
because everybody's like, you know, you have to stop her. She's in my head, and I don't think that's Wanda. That's actually, you know,
I don't think
brainwashing them.
I don't think she's in control here, though, based on the second episode. I think she might be Clea. Like when I heard that, I'm like, you know what? Especially with leading into Doctor Strange, that I could see.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't know for sure.
But nobody's introduced her yet, though. You know?
No,
Like,
nobody's introduced. Yeah. There's a lot of like they're keeping a lot of these like Easter they're dangling Easter eggs in front of us to keep us guessing, which I
Yeah.
appreciate. I appreciate
Okay.
that greatly.
Yeah, and okay. So one thing I don't understand, you guys can tell me. Agatha Harkness. I thought she was some like uber powerful witch, like timeless witch. Why? So if that really is Agatha Harkness, and she's obviously not being mind controlled, you know, like she's obviously someone who's not surprised about the kids like growing, you know, aging 5 years right in front of her twice. And she knows what's going on, and she's not controlled like the rest of them. So that kind of that plays into her being Agatha Harkness. But on the other hand, why would she, like, wasn't Agatha Harkness like an equal to Wanda?
No, not an
Or-
equal.
No.
Not even close.
She's just a witch. Powerful witch, but not the Scarlet Witch. Wanda's powers are so off the charts that sometimes writers don't want to deal with them because they're such
Kind of like
game
writing
changers.
Superman. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like people bitch about Superman. Like Wanda literally shapes space and time.
Yeah.
Like, and when used properly, you can do some really cool stuff with her. But like, it's also hard not to write her as like, you know, a Deus Ex Machina for everything, you know. So there's a lot of tricks to writing her, to be honest with you. But I don't think that you know, I lost track of where I was going with it. But yeah, I don't think that she's supposed to. I think she's playing a game, to be honest with you. Like when she did the whole, oh, do you want me to take it from the top? Because she's the only person to break character in front of Wanda.
right.
I think
But-
we're supposed. I think she did that on purpose to trick Vision.
Well, no,
Let Vision in on it. Oh no. She did that on purpose. The whole character.
They've been you think she's been trying to break Vision out of it for a while?
No, the opposite. I think she's teasing Vision and teasing us by an extension because we're kind of Vision, right? The audience
Yes.
is really kind of seeing this through Vision's eyes. So, like, Vision's kind of our touchstone character because he's like, I don't know what's happening, and we're kind of the same way.
He doesn't even know who he is. He
Right,
doesn't
he
have
said
any of
that
his memories.
None. That's which is crazy when you find that out. But like when she breaks character, quote unquote. She's like, "Do you want me to take it from the top?" Like nobody has said that to Wanda. They're all like super spooky in front of her.
Well, yeah,
about this whole thing.
But most of them are being literally mind controlled. Like
Correct.
they don't subconsciously they do, but not consciously. But she seems to be one of like
She
her
knows
and Herb.
Herb,
seem
yeah,
to-
who we haven't seen in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm curious when he comes back. But yeah, no, I think she's messing with Vision and by extension us. But it's clearly she called herself Anti-Aggie this week. And it's like, oh yeah, now we're not even pretending anymore.
Okay.
Like we're just like saying, and she comes into Ray to nurse the twins. It's like, oh yeah.
But I see
yeah.
the thing is the way they're directing her, it feels like she's as afraid as like you would
Yes.
think somebody would be in that situation where you have this, you know, this person who's exhibiting signs of manic depression and, you know, a little bit of schizoids and
But she
you know,
knows
and
the
she's
score.
controlling reality.
But she
Right.
knows the score. She knows what's going on. She doesn't freak out when the kids age,
Right. She doesn't, but
right?
she
Because she's in on it.
But
She's in on it.
But she still got nervous when like Vision broke and didn't do what the script supposedly was supposed to do.
That's what I'm saying. Did she, or is she? I think she's playing with Vision. I think she's in on the making Vision crack a little bit.
Right.
Because whoever's controlling all this could care less about the idealistic Westlake town or Westview town. Like he don't care. He wants he's got the goal. It's got to be the twins. Like we're setting up the twins.
Yeah.
That's what again. It's got to be Mephisto. Like it's got to be Mephisto or Master Pandemonium. I suppose if they're gonna wuss out and do that. Like it's got to be. I know. I agree.
Hands.
That's Master Pandemonium. Ooh, that was floating around my Twitter today. Thanks to Chris Sotomayor. Appreciate that. Best colorist in the business. Like, yeah, I it's very interesting. Like Agatha we still don't quite know where she's coming from with it, but she's clearly a witch.
Right.
Clearly.
Well, and the next, I guess the next one is going to have her in the actual witch costume for the Halloween show. So
the Halloween previews are really cool. Like,
yeah.
Oh, did you notice that the twins were dressed in green and red?
Yep. Well, green, blue, and red, right?
Well, green, but like primarily green and blue.
Yeah.
Or green and red, excuse me, because those were the colors of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, and the colors of Wiccan and Speed. So,
well, wait a minute. Pietro was always in blue, wasn't he?
Green.
Is it green?
Yeah, green.
Well, it goes blue, but he starts in like when he's okay. So Brotherhood of Evil Mutants Pietro is green.
Right.
Avengers Pietro is blue.
Right.
There's another hint there. But Speed from the Young Avengers is green.
Okay.
So there's something there. Like this is we're heading to this Young Avengers thing, man. I saw Haley Steinfeld still posting stuff about Hawkeye, her being Hawkeye. We got Stature going on. Like we're almost full on Young Avengers.
Yep.
I'm very excited about it too.
So what's going on with director Tyler Hayward? Because that guy's got some evil vibes too, and
Yes.
you know that they were dissecting Vision's body in order to like use
Figure
it.
out, yeah.
They wanted to make weapons.
Of course.
Well,
and of course, Scarlet Witch is going to get pissed off. That's like
right. That's the whole thing is that, and that's the twist that's coming that they haven't talked about. His body wasn't just being held.
Yeah.
They were doing things to his body, and that's why she went to get it.
Yeah.
Don't forget, he's still a Stark creation, technically.
Right.
So he's essentially a weapon. And I like that line, because Vision's living will was he didn't want to be a weapon. Right? They literally said that this week, which was a good line. Yeah.
And she did mention when they were fighting that, you are my husband and the father of my children. Isn't that enough? She doesn't want a weapon either. She wants him as him.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, she wants Vision, not like the Vision. That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a good episode. A lot of questions.
Yes. And of course I have a couple articles I left in our Wanda corner. Which is related to what you were saying, JD. Elizabeth Olsen has come out and said that there is a cameo.
She's Tom Hollanding it. She's dropping bombs.
She said
the mouse ninjas are going to come for her.
She said there's a Luke Skywalker style
cameo,
like the Mandalorian.
Why would you spoil that for us?
Didn't spoil it. Got us excited. It got us talking more. It was smart.
That she's like the fan. No one knows about it. They've even said it's someone that they haven't worked with before. But yeah, it's coming. So,
and boy, oh boy, is there speculation on this, because it's not Evan Peters as Wolverine, or as Wolverine. I got excited. As Quicksilver, I'll get it because I'm bursting the seams. I think prediction. If I'm wrong, I'll come out here and say I'm wrong. I think the Luke Skywalker, that's the key, Luke Skywalker style cameo that we're going to get at the end of this show is Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
That would be that would be goddamn insane.
No,
because that would do it, wouldn't it? I mean, like
that's Luke Skywalker.
Is it because
that level?
My son's prediction, multiverse. We're not thinking of all the properties. We can't just have X-Men cameos. Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't. That one doesn't excite me as much. I mean, it could be. I mean, that's simply
Yeah.
it's easier to do.
He's the flagship character of Marvel. He was the first one to play him live, in the movies,
Hmm.
and we know that he's being talked to come back reprise his role for Spider-Man 3.
You
And
know,
you notice he's the only one they haven't confirmed.
yeah.
There's Uncle Oz from Take a Knee for Marvel versus DC. My buddies has a theory too that we're actually getting that the new cameo is going to be the next great villain in the Marvel universe, and that will be connected to Wanda.
That wouldn't be
That
a
would
Luke
be
Skywalker moment then.
but it would be. This would be Michael Fassbender as Magneto.
If he came in to save her because
Or
they're
just
her
showed,
kids.
or they are. Yes and no. They have been and they haven't been. And in this one, so I thought about this. Regular Scott, shout out to you for pointing this out to me on the new Volver app, which I'll talk about later. That his theory is that because this episode they talked about Wanda and Pietro's parents,
Right.
and they named them, and the name of her father's, this Oleg, I forget the last name, is the same name as this famous Slovakian doctor who's experimented with magnetism.
Oh,
So
Jesus.
that could be a giant coincidence, a
God
wink and a
damn.
nod, or an arrow pointing to something.
Nah.
But in my opinion, like when I thought about it, I'm like, I would rather have Wolverine. That being said, Magneto is the greatest Marvel Universe villain of all. I don't even think there's a debate about that. Like, and Michael Fassbender, when given the right material to work with, is phenomenal as Magneto. So I could get on board with that.
They could completely Tom Holland it and just bring in Tom Holland.
Yeah, but again, she said.
I mean, you want to piss an audience off, you do that.
I know.
They did say it was someone that she hasn't worked with before, and Tom Holland. They've been in the movie together. And of course, my original guess, the most obvious one, the easiest one to bring in that everyone would accept and love, would be Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool.
That's also a possibility, especially if it's like a last second like tag at the end of the show. At the end of the show, and it's just Ryan Reynolds showing up making a crack. I don't think anybody would complain about that.
I'm sorry, that wouldn't be a Luke Skywalker moment, but that would be a Yakko Wacko and Dot moment.
You're right. That's what that would be. It'd be like a Groucho Marx moment.
Yeah.
Like, I hope she understands the gravity of the language that she used when setting this up.
Yeah.
Because Luke Skywalker is something, which is what I thought Wolverine, because like, one, we don't have that next leader of the Marvel universe. Like there was like, who's going to lead the Marvel universe without, Tony and Steve around? And we still don't have that guy yet, especially now that T'Challa's dead, So part of me's like Wolverine, and Hugh Jackman said he would come back to play Wolverine for Marvel Studios.
He'll be old man Wolverine, literally though.
Logan's supposed to be that.
I know.
Like Logan spoke, and like first of all, he looks phenomenal for his age. Looks phenomenal for any age. But Logan's supposed to be a little like rough and got some wrinkles and not be so perfect. And he's so fantastic and so associated with that role that if we weren't to get that at some point, I think it would be disappointing. And if there's one thing Marvel's really good at, it's not disappointing fans.
How old is Hugh Jackman?
He's in his 50s.
He's 52 years. Yeah. And
Robert Downey Jr. is older.
And he's 2 years older than me. He looks a lot better than me. It's like, yeah, with those washboard abs, you can get.
It's not difficult to look better than you, John.
That's true. No, he's not wrong.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, again, for those who are watching, tell us in the comments below who you think is
let's get the speculation.
The Luke Skywalker style cameo. If you're listening, go over on Twitter at Superhero Speak and let us know there, or find us on Facebook and let us know there, because we want to know who you guys think is the Luke Skywalker level cameo. And then a little bit of news that I found. This actually came out I think last week, but we didn't talk about it. So Elizabeth Olsen, we all know in the Halloween episode, is going to be wearing the classic Scarlet Witch costume. She actually fought to be able to wear that costume because they didn't want to do it. Disney didn't want to do it, and Marvel. So
Why wouldn't they? It's like
Because it looks stupid. That's like it looks stupid.
Well, yeah, but it's supposed to look. I mean, like I've seen artist renditions of
Oh, yeah.
what it could look like.
Oh, yeah.
And modernized, but
like George Perez draws a great Scarlet Witch, right? But I don't think it's realistic for like reality. Like that headdress is going to look silly. It looks silly on her now. Actually, it looks great on her, but I mean, like,
that's the thing, right?
In like the
oh god,
in a combat scenario, it wouldn't make sense. It's illogical. But for this episode, it's fine. It works. It's cute. If that's the whole reason they did a Halloween episode was just to get the two of them in the classic outfits, fine, great, fan service me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm a fan of it.
Yes, and I think that's next week's episode.
How great was she again this week too? When we saw, that was last week where we met Sokovia and Wanda. Was that this week or last? It's all drawn a blur to me now.
Well, I didn't quite hear her accent when she walked out of the field.
Oh, she had it. That was this week. Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
When she carries the drone. Yeah. She's totally got her Sokovian accent.
She's pissed.
She was pissed. Great. Like she has delivered so many different variations on the Wanda character in these 5 episodes. I'm just like stunned every time she does it. Legit talk. I think we need to start talking about Elizabeth Olsen for an Emmy. Like, she's that good on this show. Like, so the appearance of like, because everyone's like, oh, what happened to your exit? Like, you know, they thought they just got rid of it, and it made perfect sense where she would have gotten rid of it. 1, to blend in as a spy, 2, to be this like, you know, suburban housewife, and then she got pissed off and she's like all Eastern European. It's great.
Yeah, both her and Kevin Feige have talked about it, and they basically said there are reasons why her accent's changed, and like if you follow it through, there's logic to it. It's like it's not. It wasn't just done. It wasn't just a willy-nilly thing.
It's her personality changing.
Well, that's too. She said that Elizabeth Olsen said that Wanda trained with Black Widow, and how to be in spy tech and be a spy, and like you'd be easier to find if you're walking around with that thick accent. And you know, we have to probably assume that Natasha Romanoff probably does have a Russian accent that she just hasn't utilized.
Yes.
You know, just a shame in retrospect. But
well, maybe we'll see in the Black Widow movie.
If we ever see the Black Widow movie, that's becoming the next New Mutants.
I hope not.
Is this real?
I'm hoping it's good.
Is this the real life?
No.
Is this just fantasy?
The answer is no.
It's fantasy. We're talking about, you know, reality warping hex powers.
So,
but God, I love this show. Hey, quick little tidbit. My brother Matt hates this show.
Well, so how long did it take for you to disown him?
We had a 2-hour conversation on Friday night where he's like, I told him I love what happened. You know what? Maybe I should ask him to come on and talk during our WandaVision segment next week, because I want you guys to hear where he's coming from. And as a writer, he's got some good perspectives on why he doesn't like it. Because he's like, I feel like I don't know what's happening. I feel like everything is all set up, no payoff. That's what I told him. He's like, I feel like they haven't told me anything yet. I'm like, well, yeah, you're halfway through the movie. Like you don't get that. And I get that he's just not connecting with it. And I try to explain to him that part of the fun of comics is the fact that comics exist in this constant state of act 2. Right? We never really get an act 1. Like issue 1 is an act 1. And we never really get an end, because every end just kind of restarts the next story. So comics is this constant act 2. And he's like, you're sort of telling me what the show could be instead of what it is. I'm like, I know, that's the fun of comics, is when it's done, you can imagine what's coming next and get excited about it. I said, the act of getting excited about reading comics is a big chunk of the fun about reading comics. It's not just consuming the material, it's playing with the material and establishing that connection and that like romance with the material. And this show, I figured this out. I was talking about this show, because it's being the way it's beat out, because we have to wait week to week, simulates the experience of waiting for the next issue of a comic better than any other film experience, with the exception of Infinity War.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I think they learned that from doing Infinity War and Endgame that way. Like they knew, they're like, oh yeah, building anticipation like that works.
Yeah, he's like, oh, just a cliffhanger every week. I'm like, yeah, no kidding, dude. It's like they want you to watch the next episode or something.
Does he read comics?
No,
Well,
he's never been a
Yeah.
comics reader. But part of me makes me wonder if, like, how are the normies reacting to this? Because when I go on
Well-
Twitter, everyone seems to love it. But like my sister-in-law, who loves Marvel movies but never read a comic in her life, doesn't like it. My wife loves the show. I love the show.
I
My brother doesn't read comics, doesn't like the show.
I would say the normies like it, but that's because the normies on YouTube, the reactors called the normies like this.
Haha. But I mean, like, unfortunately, our bubble is like an echo chamber. Our bubble is, that's literally the same thing. But like, we hear from people like us. So I do kind of wonder, and I would like to have him express his views to you, mainly so we could 3-on-1 him and tell him that he's stupid. But like, it would be an interesting experiment.
Here's a question. I brought this up to you, I think, in a message on Twitter.
Oh, I know. What you're
Just like Endgame, does this show work on its own?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's not designed to, though.
It couldn't work because like I was saying in the beginning of this, the thing that this has that Lost and Heroes and all these other shows don't have is this rich and storied history to draw from. Like if it wasn't for that, for what, over 100 years of comics, 50, 70 years of comics or whatever, we wouldn't be as excited because there wouldn't be that much built into it, all these little Easter eggs that we could we're trying to definitely find and unwrap.
If you haven't seen at least Age of Ultron, Infinity War, and Endgame, you have no idea who Vision is.
No.
That he's died, and the relationship between the two of them.
And this is what I said. It's like, no, it doesn't work. It's not supposed to. It's not designed to stand on its own. None of these Marvel movies are anymore. This show is perfect for the Disney Plus app, because after every episode, what do they show? Like if you go to the very end, it will link you to the next to a movie that will help you understand this stuff better.
It keeps linking me to Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron, it did to the Days of Future Past too, when Evan Peters showed up. So I mean, like, they want you to experience everything. They want that network engagement. They want to be able to go to their shareholders and say, we have X numbers of hours of our subscribers watching this stuff. And Marvel fits in perfectly with that. Like I said, this show is the closest thing we've ever gotten to a comic book experience, because a comic doesn't stand that. A mainstream Marvel universe, DC too, comic doesn't stand on its own.
I have to say though, the way you're explaining it though is exactly what happens in anime, because some of these animes like One Piece and Dragon Ball and all that, and a few others, Naruto, they're like, you have to have seen like 100 episodes or read 100 of the manga books and a couple of light novels before you're truly invested in this whole thing. But it draws you in, and at that point, you're watching the movies, you're watching the anime, and like you get excited every time because again, this rich storied history, and you're fully invested. And the more you watch, the more you want to watch. So that's what maybe that's what they can also bank on that. Like they see this, and if they get really interested, like, well, who's Wanda? Oh, look, I can watch Age of Ultron, or something, and continue on, and it's a rabbit hole of content.
Huge. Well, that's the argument. It's like, will people watch? Can someone make this their first viewing experience? And I said no, and they're not supposed to. Right. And I have this argument with my wrestling friends all the time who are of the mind, well, you can't get too deep into the weeds because you'll never grow. And I'm like, no, that's not true. Because I started watching pro wrestling and I had no idea who Sting was or all these guys.
You have to come in at some point.
You have to come in at some point, and you follow along, and eventually you're in. It's like soap operas. Like some of these, a lot of them aren't around anymore, but for 30, 40 years, some of these things ran, and someone had to jump on at some point. Right?
Yeah.
Because there's no replays of soap operas. Like that doesn't exist.
You
jump in and you follow, and then you pick up. Like I don't think you should dumb it down for new people. Let them express why what you love is awesome. And then if they're in, they'll figure it out.
Well, because if you dumb it down, you're not going to keep the fans that you want, the
Right.
ones that are going to be rabid and are going to evangelize the show and try to get more people into it
And
because it's that good.
Right. And that's the argument I have with my wrestling friends. Like, oh, you need the casuals. I'm like, no, casual fans will go the second they're bored. You want to turn people into rabid fans.
Yes.
Not
yes.
casual. Like attracting people who are kind of interested won't help you in the long run. You want to attract people who are invested.
Yes.
Right. You take a casual person and you turn them into a diehard. That's the goal.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you end up with the Snyder Cut. All right.
Or all you have is people with rabies.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's enough
That's
Wanda
good.
talk for the week.
Did we break our record this week? I think we might have.
I think we might have. So, if you're still with us, thanks. We're going to take our first commercial break, and we'll be right back with Social Media Madness. and our Social Media Madness. Yeah, our first thing here is a long conversation I noticed today.
You said this. The headline says JD fights with people. This isn't fighting. These are my fight game media friends. These are literally my wrestling friends that I'm talking about comics with.
You fight with your wrestling friends?
No, we talking like we were talking about this weird Sony idea with Keanu Reeves, which don't want to spoil later in the show, but we were debating Spider-Man and specifically Kraven's Last Hunt.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, all right. So you want to sum up like?
Yeah, but my buddy Jeremy and I were talking about, like I said, there's only one good Kraven story, right? And we've talked about it on the show when we reviewed Kraven's Last Hunt.
Well, it started off with Lawrence saying, "Is this a cool character to play?" Like,
he doesn't know. He doesn't know anything. I don't think Larry is into comics at all. So he didn't know if Keanu playing, because that's. But don't bury the lead. Keanu was offered the part of Kraven the Hunter.
Yes.
And he's like, "Is this good for Keanu?" And I said, it depends on how you look at it. Because I don't know. They're like, "Oh, I get the appeal. Oh, John Wick is Kraven." I'm like, yeah, but we have John Wick. And Kraven's not as cool as John Wick. And that's where I said, there's only one. Close. No, there's only one good Kraven story. And then my buddy Jeremy responded, "Oh, I don't like Kraven's Last Hunt." And he talked about the same reasons that I said were negatives about Kraven's Last Hunt, that like it made too much of an impact on the Spider-Man universe, and there's too much negative stuff that went with it. I get where he's coming from. He's like, I don't like horror noir and Spider-Man. I'm like, okay, I mean, I get it, but I like it because it was different. So that was the
yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And
debate.
I can't see Keanu Reeves doing a trashy Eastern European accent.
He tried in Dracula and Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yes, he did.
It was bad.
And it was bad. It did not work. So
I hope Keanu's smart enough to turn this down. And I hope Sony's got to stop with trying to give every Spider-Man villain a movie. Like, it doesn't freaking work. Especially Kraven. Especially Kraven.
Well, we've talked about this before, and you said it very succinctly. The best thing Kraven ever did was die.
Yeah, and nothing it's been 10 years since they brought Kraven back, and maybe something like that, and nothing since they brought him back has done anything. It's like, why did you bother do it? Well, we want to have Kraven on the table. All right, give me one positive thing that you've done with the character since he came back. Nothing. Oh, because you're freaking idiots. Not gonna hire me, so I'll say it. Like, there's no reason. There's no reason to bring Kraven back. He was better dead, because now you cheapen the one good thing he had.
See, this is like Dave and I were talking about this before you came. I was like, the mouse is gonna at some point, maybe the mouse will buy Sony and just put him out of their misery.
I don't want that. Like,
I don't want it either, but like
too much,
Sony's making it really hard to not wish for that. I mean, like,
because they want to do something with this, but they've got this Spider-Man universe that they can't figure out how to make money on. Venom did all right, but not as well as it could have done if Tom Holland had shown up. Right? So if they want to make Kraven work, you got to stick him in a Marvel movie, because these characters exist only to play a foil to Spider-Man. Right? That's the only reason they're there. So trying to make them their own thing, it fails in comics. It's going to fail on film. Like later this year, we're going to review Morbius and say that fucking sucks. And like there's just nothing. There's nothing positive. Venom kind of can work on its own, kind of. But I mean, the other ones, no, it's terrible.
But even Venom doesn't work because the whole point, like Venom's whole thing is, he uses webbing and all that. Where did he get it from? It's
Spider-Man. I agree.
right.
I agree. But you can't look. But the reason with Venom is you can't not look at Venom and not think Spider-Man. So just by looking at him, you connect to Spider-Man. So that in of its sense makes it work a little bit more because you can't get away from Spider-Man with Venom. You can't.
Right.
If you give Electro a movie, you're like, all right, what do you got for me? Nothing. All right. Okay, let me see the Rhino in a movie. Oh, nothing.
Oh God, no.
You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't. They work great. Spider-Man's got the second best rogues gallery in comics. Arguably the best, depending on the day. I might argue different, but I mean, like they don't work without Spider-Man. Like this is why this is what they are. They're supporting characters. They're meant to support the main character.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, boo, Sony. Keanu, be smart, my man. Hold out for something in Marvel.
Yes. Moving on. John, this one's your fault.
I'm surprised it took this long to blame something on me.
So, of course, a couple episodes ago, we named the episode Amish Insurrection, thanks to a comment you made on the show. And Timothy Jones said, I once saw an Amish man with his hand up a horse's butt. He was a mechanic.
No offense. Like he was going to offend the Amish on Twitter. Amish Twitter can get pretty violent sometimes, Tim.
Yes. Watch out for the Amish Mafia.
The Amish Mafia is that's a thing. I saw it on Discovery Channel, so I don't know how real it is.
No, it's Discovery Channel. Come on.
Discovery Channel is more of a work than WWE. But yeah, that's it. Sour grapes. I don't know. I lost it.
Don't forget to check out Sour Grapes comic strips and finer newspapers across the country.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So there is a follow-up to this too. We of course talked about our George Clooney wanting
Duck
to
Dodgers.
wanting to.
Now that's what I want to see. I want to see Rogers. George Clooney play Duck Dodgers.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Which Ty Matthews said should be Duck Dodgers and gave us a gif of Duck Dodgers.
There you go, Ty. You're right.
Random Randy Savage of Colt 45 said, okay, not to be rude, but I'm over 30 and I have never heard of this character outside of using him to describe other characters. So is there some reading or shows I should watch?
No.
Oh my God.
What?
Well, yeah.
Like Gil Gerard?
Isn't that no? Guys.
No, forget Gil Gerard. Aaron Gray.
Aaron Gray
as Deerling.
Very pretty.
Deering.
But this is what I said last week. This property has no value anymore. None. It's a terrible idea.
To which Gorilla Brain Podcast said, in a world dominated by superheroes, that leap off the page to the screen, probably not.
Yeah, there's just nothing here, man.
And then finally, Tim Jones again said, I think we should have a reboot of Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century instead.
Tim, we had it. It was on Cartoon Network. It's very good. There's an episode where he gets the Green Lantern ring. Hilarious. Hilarity ensues.
All right. Now you guys might, I don't know, you guys might like this one, though. Jen, who's at JM, I can't remember, Macahone 78, said, remake Ice Pirates instead, or Millennium.
Oh my God, Ice Pirates.
I've never seen it. I've never even heard of Ice Pirates.
Oh my God, it's hysterical.
I don't know. I'm unfamiliar with this film.
It's weird and hysterical.
It's an 80s cult classic, but yeah, it's good. It's funny.
It would be good for a laugh one day. Like while you're still, I don't know, like it. I don't think it's not it's not.
It's got to be
appropriate for your kid
somewhere
because space herpes is involved.
Yes,
but it's just and not what it's not what you think, but it is not appropriate. You have to see it. It's just my God. Now I got to go watch that again.
Space herpes.
No, yes. But it's not what you think. It's there. Just you have to see it to understand.
Fair enough.
Of course, we also have thrown out the idea of us doing a live stream
Threatened, I would think, be the word to use.
for the
Threatened it.
Snyder cut. Of course, Randy said that we should do it. And now 8-Bit Ray from the Gorilla Brain podcast has said, I think you should. I do it, but no one wants to see me cry DC tears of disappointment.
That's all I'm gonna do. Twice.
Uh,
I can't wait till we're done with this. Like, I can't wait till this movie comes out, and like then we can all just give it a collective fart and move on with our lives.
There's gonna be months of stuff afterwards. I'm telling you.
No,
But the clips and the teases and all that make it look like so overdone.
Zack Snyder, man.
Like of course. I mean, just like taking himself way too seriously. You know, he must like I swear he must be sitting behind the camera with a bottle of Avion saying, "I am avant-garde." I mean, just
he does take himself pretty seriously, and like there's not a lot of joy in his films. Like
No.
I don't know. It's a lot of I don't know.
And
I don't want
to. Not a lot to inspire us, but what are we supposed to do? They're supposed to freaking inspire us.
You know, that's the problem with this is like he wants to be like the boys, but you can't do that kind of stuff with those characters, with the actual characters.
Right.
Like do what Warren Ellis and all those guys have done. Create pastiches. Like do your own thing, like as a take on. Don't actually ruin the real thing just because you need to be badass. I've come here to bury Snyder, not to praise him.
Well, he's doing to the DC characters what what's his name wanted to do to them with the other movie. Oh God, the big blue guy with the
Watchmen.
Yeah, Watchmen. Yeah, he's doing to the DC characters what DC didn't let them do to them to do Watchmen, right?
Well, he did Watchmen.
I know. Yeah, but I mean,
but when Alan Moore proposed the
Yes.
story,
they wouldn't let him use the original characters.
The Charlotte characters. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He had other characters in mind. They wouldn't let him use those properties.
Yeah.
So he created his own characters.
Right. That's the best. Right. That's the best example. Or you know what? Another example from Alan Moore is his famous Twilight of the Superheroes pitch. Right, which would have been a very negative take on the DC universe years into the future.
Yeah.
Right, which would have been very. We're glad it never happened. But like, yeah, no, I mean, this is. Yeah.
But like when DC turned down, Alan, they should have turned down Zach on letting them use.
It's not the same DC it was 4 years ago.
I know, but it's just they're. I don't know.
Jeanette Kahn retiring might be one of the most critical things that's happened in the history of comics.
What do you mean?
That she was the publisher of DC Comics.
Yeah.
She was the brains behind everything that worked.
Yeah.
And having Paul Levitz as the publisher, like the company was far better than, since Jeanette Kahn retired and Warner took more interest in it, things haven't moved well. Like Warner, let's be honest, man, Warner's kind of a disaster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of things that aren't a disaster, we talked about the rumor that Chris Evans is returning to the MCU, and Zio Jedi, who retweeted us and with this caption said, "I hope he returns as a Skrull for Secret Invasion. That would be awesome."
That's a dope idea.
Yes.
I love
it. So a follow-up on this, I didn't include in the stories because it's a rumor currently that he's not returning as Captain America. He's returning as Johnny Storm, Human Torch for Spider-Man 3.
Oh, that would be awesome too.
Oh, for Spider-Man 3? Okay, that would work.
Yes.
That would be.
As one of the multiverse characters, yeah.
And that'd be kind of fun because Tom Holland could play off him thinking he's Captain America and he's actually the Human Torch. Yeah, okay. You know what? This universe has robbed us. We have not had the Spider-Man Human Torch relationship that we have from the comics. So, you know what? I'm okay with it. I'll allow it.
What relationship is that? I didn't.
Oh, they're like friends. Yeah, they're friends. They have like this frenemy
'Cause-
relationship, this
because
love-hate, you know,
they're both
rivalry.
especially in the 60s and the 70s, they were teen heroes. So they were the two youngest Marvel heroes. That's how they became friends, you know.
Oh, that sounds a lot like Falcon and Winter Soldier
It's
frenemies.
well, no, but it's different because they were like they're like kids the same age, right? And they kind of grew up together, and they have this this playful rivalry where they love hate each other,
Right.
you know. And we haven't gotten that on the screen. You know what? I hope that rumor's reality because I would like to see that.
Yeah.
Although, how many more people can they cram in this movie?
I don't know.
Firestar and Iceman.
Next.
I'd pay to see that.
And
I'd
the dog,
risk COVID.
the yappy dog.
I would risk COVID to see Spider-Man and his amazing friends in Spider-Man 3. Yes.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
All right. All right. Well, that is our social media madness for the week, boys and girls.
Thank the goddess it's over.
If you would like to be a part of social media madness, here's our good friend D Square to tell you how you can be part of the fun.
Want to be part of social media madness? Make sure you're following superheroespeak.com, where you can find all of the social media links for the show at the top of the page. While you're there, check out previous episodes of the podcast as well as other great content. And check the site often because we are posting great comic book reviews as well as other comic book and movie content every day. Make sure you are following us on Twitter at SuperheroSpeak. And while you're there, check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. Simply follow them at *_geek. The Geek World All-Star Podcast Network include great programs such as the Pup Prism Power Podcast, Colt 45, So Wizard, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain Podcast, and of course, Super Hero Speak. Search for GW All-Stars, you will not be disappointed. Now it's back to Dave and the boys on Super Hero Speak.
All right. Thank you for that, Don. And don't forget to check out the Omega Level Nerd podcast, available on YouTube and wherever podcasts are available. So, you know, tell them we sent you and say, hi, D's nuts.
Oh, taking my material now.
That was the best line from last week. So, while John thinks about these nuts, we're going to take our next commercial break. And we'll be right back. I did it just for that sigh, John. All right. We got a little bit of news to talk about this week. We got a couple interesting follow-up stories related to, of all things, George Clooney and the Buck Rogers story. So let's start with the estate that owns the Buck Rogers rights are spoken out against them doing this reboot with George Clooney. Now, Legendary has said they have secured the rights, so they're in the right to make it, but they don't want them to. So,
They could put
Nolan family, that's who owns Nolan Family Trust is who is the owners of the rights.
Oh, so if Legendary's got it, they could have him versus Godzilla after King Kong's done.
So there's competing Buck Rogers projects right now.
Yes, and then the other story that we have is
this public domain? How is this happening? How
Skydance Developing has a competing movie based on the Pulp Hero. So here's my question:
What the hell? You can't do a movie with Buck Rogers though. There's too much. I mean,
Nolan,
you'd basically be doing Flash Gordon all over.
Maybe again. The Nolan Family Trust owns the rights based on the TV show, but maybe the Pulp character from the magazines is public domain at this point.
You know, there might be something to that. There's some idiot running around on Twitter right now saying he has the rights to the 1940s DC characters, and like, I don't know, he's a freaking moron. But it's like there's something going on with this that doesn't make sense. Where you shouldn't be able to have these completed in 1928, huh?
Yes.
I do wonder if this is now public domain. I don't know.
Oh, that would make.
Well, he first appeared in a novella in 1929. Armageddon 2419 was the name of that.
Okay.
And then he was renewed in the 50s.
As long as it's before Mickey Mouse, because our whole copyright law structure is based on Disney. Because nobody wants Mickey Mouse to go out of, become public domain.
There's plenty of people that want to see it. There's not.
Well, but the thing is that Congress doesn't want it. So every time they go up to extend the copyrights, the copyright limitations for them, they do it for the mouse. And
I believe Steamboat Willie is 1929, and Buck Rogers shows up in This Amazing Stories in 1928. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I need to dig. I just kind of overlooked the headline. I did not go deeper into this article. I want to know a little more.
There's the caveat with the copyright isn't that it's not just so many years. It has to be, you have to renew the copyright and you have to be actively using the character. It's not just, oh, this estate owns this character forever. So yeah, they're weird rules like
this. Is how we got the Fantastic Four Ashcan movie, is because they had to be in production by X date.
The Roger Corman one, right?
The Roger Corman one.
Yeah.
And then when they had the movie, Marvel had to go, God damn, all right, we'll buy it from you. You know?
Oh, they could have Buck Rogers be the Luke Skywalker moment, WandaVision.
Ah, yes. And the world will collect a collective. Who?
What?
What?
So yeah, so I mean, like, because we said last week, is this just an idea that's being floated? Is this actually going to get made? And then people are saying, I don't know. There's some weird interest in Hollywood to do a Buck Rogers,
because everyone, it's out of ideas. I'm amazed there's not this much for Flash Gordon, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because isn't Buck Rogers a knockoff Flash Gordon?
Pretty much.
Which one came first? Damn it, I don't know which one came first. They're both real old Pulp Fiction characters,
No, I don't know. I think there is a company that currently owns the rights to Flash Gordon.
King Syndicate.
That's it. Yes. So
they own the Phantom too.
And
all right, the Phantom.
Is
that Green Hornet too,
the magic user, magic character,
Mandrake the Magician.
It's Mandrake. That's it. Yes.
In the Shadow and all those old guys. Yeah.
Yes. There was actually a cartoon in the 80s that had all those characters in it.
Yeah, the Defenders of the Earth.
Yes, that was it.
I remember that one.
Remember that?
Because every time I heard them say Defenders is coming, I'm like, Defenders of the Earth? And it's like, no, it was the other Marvel one. This is like not the
Pulp Fiction. So maybe we'll get a live action Defenders of the Earth movie if Buck Rogers comes back.
Only old guys like us would even deem that, like
if Marvel can make Guardians of the Galaxy work, I think you get the right people, you can make anything.
Then they should get Marvel to do those, because they're the only ones that are going to get that to work. I mean, really.
They can hire Kevin Feige's hairstylist to write it, right? Isn't that how Hollywood works?
Pretty much.
I think that's how it works.
No, that's John Peters' life story. That's true. That's John Peters.
Yes, it is. That's why I said it.
Yeah.
All right.
What a lunatic, by the way. So never mind.
Yeah, but I mean, we wouldn't have got Wild Wild West without him. All right.
Oh my God.
That giant mechanical spider. That was, All right. Moving
You're
on.
going off the rails here.
Did you guys watch the Super Bowl?
No. Well, I had it on when I was writing, but I didn't
I
pay attention.
could
It wasn't a
care
very
less.
good game.
Well,
Brady
it
was going to
wasn't.
win it anyway.
Pretty much.
It wasn't, but we did get a new trailer for Falcon Winter Soldier.
Oh, well, that I watched. You don't watch the game, but you have the timer set so that when the trailers come, when the
It was on YouTube before
commercials
the game
come.
even started. But
Yeah, I saw it before the game.
so, JD,
Lethal Weapon.
you were right. Very, very lethal weapon.
I was Lethal Weapon. That's totally what they're doing.
Oh
I told
my
you it would
God.
work. Yeah.
I cannot wait to see an entire show based around those two just ranking on each other.
Dude, they have great chemistry
I,
together.
I know it is
Like
awesome.
shockingly. It
When-
really is good.
When it gets to the end of the trailer, and they're sitting there staring at each other, and I don't know, the person interviewing them, she's like, "What are you guys doing? What? Stop it! What are you having a staring contest? When have you blink?"
It's
Just
great.
just constantly slamming on each other, like every chance they can get.
This is
it's
gonna
gonna
be
be
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really good. Like I'm very excited about this show. Sharon Carter back.
Oh,
Criminally underutilized when
Yep.
Marvel decided. I'm not 100% believing that that the Peggy Carter ending was always in play. By the way, because
you thought he was going to end up with her, Agent.
Yeah, with
13.
Agent 13. Yeah, you thought that was going to happen, and they didn't do that. But yeah, she's back, which makes me happy because she's really good, and I'm excited to see it. Baron Zemo, they're going to give him the mask this time. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Mhm.
Very happy about that. You know what the best part about it though is? The best part about this trailer? Do you know where they are? Do you know where this is taking place? That city?
That's right. I
Dave-
forgot you sent me that link.
Yeah. Dave, what city was that in?
Your city?
Madripoor.
What's Madripoor?
Madripoor is like Singapore.
Yes.
And do you know who had spy adventures in Madripoor? What comic character Madripoor comes from?
That wouldn't be Black Widow, would it?
No, it would not be Black Widow. Dave, who would be? Whose stories are aligned with Madripoor?
Wait a minute. Why am I drawing a blank?
Yeah, why are you drawing a blank? These are like famous Patch, man.
Yes, the Nick Fury.
No, Wolverine.
Oh, that's right.
That's the city from Wolverine's. I believe it was Marvel Comics Presents when he had a patch for some reason over his eye and was doing like
Yes.
James Bond style adventures.
no,
and he wasn't
it
Logan.
a-
He was Patch.
yes, and because he was an agent of Shield for a while.
Yes,
Yes. Okay. Yes.
but again, what city are we going to? Madripoor.
no, we're not bringing Wolverine into.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
You're not gonna get. This is the hill you're gonna die on, isn't it?
I'm gonna
If
will it into existence.
Hey, if he
They talk
if
about
he-
manifestation, like I'm reading The Secret.
this is gonna
You
become like a-
manifest something and you
this
like
is
make
gonna
it
be-
real.
This is gonna become like JD's QAnon conspiracy. Wolverine's coming back, and it's gonna be you, Jackman. Damn it!
What a
Hey.
healthier conspiracy. No one's gonna die on that hill. Like
if he walks
makes
into
people happy.
if he walks into WandaVision, then the chances of him not showing up in Madripoor are very low.
Well, I don't need him to show up in Magic. I'm just saying it's just a very big coincidence that we're bringing in stuff from
Yeah,
Wolverine.
but that's what this Marvel does with these shows. They pick countries and places that
I'm
are
just saying
important
it's-
for other things.
I'm just saying it's coincidence. That's all.
Like, what's the country in
Pirate heritage.
is it Infinity War? No, Civil War. When she
Sokovia.
no, not Sokovia. That's Age of Ultron.
Oh, yeah.
Civil War when she accidentally kills.
Lagos, right?
Lagos, yeah,
Lagos,
from the
and then-
commercial.
and then
It was
they
on-
have the-
yeah.
They do
Yeah.
the Lagos commercial. Like, yeah,
The most
I mean,
spot on, by the way. Cleaning up the mess.
that you didn't mean to make.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Lagos is in the comics too.
It is. It is.
Yes. So, and it's not necessarily tied.
No,
to-
it's not. It's just a coincidence, Dave. Just a giant coincidence.
There's supposed to be an
Is it-
X-Mansion there, huh?
There's a lot going on over there, man.
And they've talked about Maria Hill actually talked about Madripoor at one point.
Because they
Mentioned it in
Yeah,
Avengers.
Just saying,
The-
just
when
pointing
they
it
don't
out.
want to use real countries, they use their made-up ones.
They do. That is true.
Yes.
And like DC's the same way with your Condax.
Well,
and your
DC's
Bileas.
DC uses it like to a fault, whereas
Yeah, pretty
in,
much.
I mean, at least like Spider-Man is hanging around New York. They can't seem to have an act in DC. They can't seem to have an actual superhero hang around in a real city.
Because again, that's just not part of DC's like chemistry. That's not part of
Nah.
their DNA. Like you need Metropolis and Gotham. Batman in New York isn't nearly as fun.
Oh yeah, no, I for those characters, yeah, true, but like they made up new cities all over the place.
They did.
So,
They do.
yeah.
I've seen a theory saying that the DC Earth is bigger than our Earth to accompany all the extra cities and countries.
I'm sure the effects of gravity on people are like pretty fun too.
Right.
We
We
do.
do.
We do have people that fly.
Well, yeah, but not normal people, like the regular people.
There's lots of normal people that fly in the DC. There's lots of flying people in the DC universe.
Mhm.
Lots.
This is true. Yeah, no, but it's funny because I never even thought about that before, because I always kind of thought, oh, well, they don't have New York, they have Metropolis. They don't have Chicago, they have Gotham. Like that's how I kind of always looked at it. But
Well, they're both supposed, because again, DC was just cobbled together from different comics that were never supposed to be connected. Marvel was
Right.
always meant to be this like big universe. Like that's kind of what Stan's idea was. DC was never supposed to be that. It had to kind of get on board with it to compete. And DC is I'll maintain this. DC is at its best when it doesn't worry about continuity and other things and just focuses on what it's doing in the moment.
yeah. I'll give you that.
It's true.
Yeah, so I don't know.
That being said, the show's going to be great. I can't wait. It starts in March too. So right when we wrap WandaVision, where it looks like we're going to go pretty much right into Winter Soldier.
I
It
wonder
seems
if
that
they're
way.
going to be
It feels that way.
connected. That would be interesting.
Well, yeah. I imagine there'll be some loose ties, but
Yeah, I think that they have to connect it a little bit, because it's going to be like, how do you go into Falcon Winter Soldier after having this, and do you like you're not going to make us wait till Doctor Strange 2. Obviously, this is going to tie into Spider-Man as well somehow. So
yeah, sure seems that way. So I'm sure this one will just. Boy, what else is coming out movie-wise? Like I forgot. They've been so focused on their TV slate that I don't know.
I don't know. I know Spider-Man's supposed to come out sometime, and Black Widow. That's all we know.
Okay. So who knows what else they're working on?
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this world we live in now. And these video walls, you can just make whatever, and nobody really has to even know about it.
No, that's true. Totally closed set. You don't have to go anywhere.
Right. It's very cool.
So, and then lastly, because we already talked about the one story, we can combine these last two stories. We got some casting news, guys, for Peacemaker, because I know we're looking forward to that.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? James Gunn doing a series with John Cena on HBO? Sign me up. Can't wait.
So first we have Elizabeth Faith Ludlow and Rizwan Manji have been cast in Peacemaker. It doesn't say who they're playing in the article.
Well, knowing James Gunn, they're going to be some random characters that probably appeared in like one issue of a book. And we're talking about Peacemaker. You're talking about one, the inspiration for the comedian.
Yes.
Two, a severely insignificant character in the grand scheme of DC Comics.
And yet he's getting his own series on HBO
Hey man,
Max.
look what Gunn did with Star-Lord.
And then spinning off of that.
But that was Gunn. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, look what James Gunn did with Star-Lord.
I guess like DC might get one right.
They hired the right guy, though. I mean, like they have the right. When you hire the right people to do things, you're going to get good work. Like I know this Suicide Squad movie is going to be good. The only problem they have is now we know for a fact that John Cena makes it out of Suicide Squad alive.
Chris Conrad is Vigilante.
Do we?
They're gonna Chris Conrad is Vigilante.
Because I wonder which Vigilante. There's lots of Vigilantes.
Yeah. Because they said that this could take place before the movie.
Could. That's true. It's true. They won't.
And then finally, Nahat Lee has been cast as Judo Master.
That's cool.
He's another one of those DC characters that make you go, huh?
Yeah, there's a lot, man. There's a lot of characters. But again, it's one of those Charlton characters that we talked about that Alan Moore wanted to originally use in Watchmen.
Yeah.
So, instead it doesn't happen. Instead, he goes into the DC vault, so to say, and then people bust him out for things like Suicide Squad. That's what made the Suicide Squad comics so great, was that you could like pull people from everywhere to use in the Suicide Squad, and characters became who were insignificant, like Deadshot. Deadshot was insignificant and became something special because of Suicide Squad.
And on the other hand, you could take characters that nobody wants and just like, okay, well, you get your head blown up.
Yeah.
Dude, they did it with, clean out the backlog.
So there's this famous Animal Man story arc where Grant Morrison is writing him, and Animal Man becomes self-aware, and he like understands that he's in a comic book, and he literally like talks to his creator, and it's Grant Morrison, because Grant Morrison stuff. So Ostrander later brings in the Morrison character into the Suicide Squad as the writer. And he dies.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean that's where we got Wanda. That's where we got Oracle from. When Barbara Gordon was pretty much written out of Batman after the Killing Joke, John Ostrander gave her new life and created Oracle.
Right.
The Suicide Squad is one of the most important, fundamental not characters, but like fundamental things in the history of the DC Comics universe. Suicide Squad is vital. That's why I never needed that terrible movie by David Ayers.
Yeah.
We got to release the Ayers cut. Anyway.
Oh God, that's going to be a thing next, isn't it?
Oh yeah. You didn't know that? It's already a thing on Twitter.
Yeah, but it's not. But it's so overshadowed by the real thing.
Yeah.
Now these nerds are going to be so like.
Once they get it,
I know. It's like when Andy cries about a cookie, and I relent and I give him a cookie, and he's like, "I want another cookie." And it's like I've just emboldened the child.
Well, you gave me the first cookies, so you might as well give me the second.
Why not give me the 15th? Right. And then as the parent, you go, you know what? I screwed up by doing the first one. I have no reason. I can't give him 15 cookies. That's what Warren has done to us right now.
Well, that's when you answer because.
I know that's you as a child, that frustrates you so much. But as a parent, you understand the meaning of because.
Yeah.
It's because I don't gotta freaking give you a reason, you little
because reasons.
So what do you guys think of these casting choices? Let us know in the comments down below, and of course over on Twitter and all those fun things. And we don't have a main topic this week, so I think.
What do you mean? WandaVision was our main topic.
WandaVision is our main topic. We're a WandaVion podcast now. We pay our respects to the Wanda.
It's good enough. It's good enough to be that. I mean,
I agree.
We can't knock ourselves for that.
Oh, I agree. Every week, like I look forward.
Welcome to Wanda Talk. All right.
Welcome to Wanda. I mean, seriously, I got so disappointed last week because I thought WandaVision premiered at midnight Eastern. So at 11, I finished my writing up. I got down to the couch, sat down, and it wasn't on there. I looked on Twitter, like, oh, it's midnight West Coast. I'm like, I'm not staying up till 2:00. Little did I know. So it wound up working out. But I mean, like, this is like appointment TV for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm this into the show.
I watch it when I get home from the gym on Friday. So,
but that's in the morning. So I mean, like, you're still making it appointment television.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, well, right. I mean, that's how good it is. You watch it as soon as you can.
Like, yeah, as soon as you possibly can, you're gonna watch WandaVision.
That's what I should be asking our audience. Do you want us to keep talking this much about WandaVision?
No, I don't want their opinion. This is what we're doing. This is what we are now. For the children.
For the children.
This is Wanda's podcast now.
For the children.
All right.
That was awesome.
So on that note, do you guys have any recommendations for our audience? John?
No, I don't have anything right now. I really I haven't run across anything that's good enough to be a recommendation. It's been a boring week.
Well, sometimes that's a good thing.
I'll give it this. There's a set of books about werewolves and stuff, written by this guy named JD.
Only one werewolf book, but yes, thank you. Keep going.
You should probably check those out. You really should. In one of them, he mysteriously kills one of us.
It wasn't mysterious. You paid me for it. It's very overt, actually.
Well, it's not mysterious if you tell them that, but okay.
Well,
So
we talked about on this
we talk
podcast
about
so
it.
much.
We talk about it all the time. So there's no mystery there. No, thank you, John. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
When you get your book out, I will shamelessly hawk it at every chance I get.
Awesome.
Because I do that on social media.
Coming in 2032. All right.
Good. It's good. You got a goal. You see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, well.
So I have a couple recommendations. If you're done.
Sure.
I got asked to beta test this really cool app, and I can't talk about the title right now because it's still in a beta test mode. But I'm gonna pitch this to you, to the audience, and let me sell it to you. Imagine Twitter with voices. So instead of writing your thoughts out, you record your thoughts, and that's how you read Twitter. Like it's read to you, and
it's called voicemail.
No. But I mean, it's like Twitter. Like you say that, people laugh at Twitter. Remember the first time you looked at Twitter? Oh, what am I do? What do I think? Wow, this isn't going to work. And then a week later, you're like, I love this. I got regulars. I tried to get Dave on it, but Dave's an Android guy, so he didn't quite.
The beta is only
Mac. But I got regular Scott from Take an E on it, and regular Scott texts me. He's like, "You're right. This is a game changer, because this is a great chance for podcasters to promote their wares." Right, because now you get an easier shot because people are more likely to listen to audio if they're on this app.
Oh.
Right, and this is a great promotion tool. I got hooked up for my buddies at Fight Game, and it's super small right now. They're looking to grow it and expand this beta. But I'm telling you, when this thing gets released, this could be a game changer. I love this thing. It's the only problem that right now is there's not a lot of guys on there to interact with, so I'm interacting with the same 6 people. But it's a lot of fun, and I hope later in the year when it comes to market, I hope I'm going to push it on this podcast a lot because I really love this thing. I think it's so damn cool.
So
interesting.
They did tell me because they sent me the invite for the demo, and then I was like, or the beta, and then I went to go, and it's like, oh, iPhone. I'm like, so I said, is it available for Android? He's like, no, but he said it will be available on Android at launch. And I think it's like by the end of the month they're coming out.
Oh wow, I didn't realize it was that quick. Cool. And there's things that he's working the bugs out of. I've given him my suggestions on some stuff. He's like, yeah, we got that coming. We just want to make sure that the main stuff works. And like I said, I've quite enjoyed playing with it.
They have stock or anything?
I don't think so. I should ask my friend that.
They have any? Yeah, they're looking for investors.
Now, here's a question though. I kind of feel like Twitter isn't evasive because you just
Twitter's
open it up.
Incredibly invasive.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe invasive is not the right word.
Offensive. Offensive. That's
Twitter's super offensive.
It's okay. Here's my question: do you have to click on the thing to listen to it, or does it automatically play as you scroll through?
So, that's good. When they're called thoughts instead of tweets. You have to, if you go on your main page and you just click to start it, it'll go through them. Right? It'll automatically read them. And if you want to go into it, then you can thread the thoughts too. So if you individually click on that, then you'll hear all your responses. So what I've thought about doing when this thing launches is I may do a short story and just record it in 1 minute, because they're like tweets only 180 characters. These are 1 minute. So I might just do some short stories or chapters from a novel and just read them into my phone. Because it links one to the next. So I'm just thinking me and my butt.
Okay, yeah. So that you're taking the idea and you're thinking, how can we use this?
Correct.
And that makes sense. You're not just like, oh, I'm just randomly putting my thoughts out there. Like,
well, that's people will put that's people, but that's going to support it. And that's what Twitter is people randomly thinking. And there's something about, I think that people who like podcasts will be more inclined to do this because they're used to listening to things.
Right.
And someone like me, because that's where my brain is, how can I market myself? How can I get more people into the millions of things that I do? And I guess, again, for books, it's always like, man, how do you stand out? So for me, this is a quick one. And for what we do, because you and I could go back and forth, and like a thought thread and like have like 15 things that would like almost become like a simulated podcast. What better way to advertise our show? Or like me and regular Scott will just go to town on pro wrestling where I tell him he's an idiot all the time. Love you, Scott. And like, it's just like, there's so many uses for it.
What's the limit? Like how long?
Well, they're 1 minute long.
1 minute? Okay.
Yeah.
So you got a lot in a minute.
You can't say a lot in a minute because I've pushed myself to see like what I can do. And I got that's where I first got my I told you so's. I got on the app and I lost my mind into it and had some responses that were entertaining.
You could get into some really nasty flame wars with that.
You totally can. Like NBA Twitter, if they get on this app, they're gonna like light each other up. It's gonna be entertaining as all hell. Because I mean, like now because Twitter communication sometimes gets lost because people can't read sarcasm. And people can't write people can't write sarcasm, which is tricky. It's tricky to write sarcasm.
Yeah.
Like when you hear someone talking like this, it's pretty clear that like they're being sarcastic. So there's so many more modes of communication you can utilize. Like I said, I'm very excited to be one of the first like 15 people to participate in this app. Really on the ground floor stuff. Is very excited. I hope it works. I really do.
All right, I'll sign up for it when it comes out. So
yeah, my actual thing that I've been digging into this Super Void Cinema YouTube page. Like I'm not John, I don't watch a million YouTube channels, but this one is because they make these like hour-long documentary based, these like cheaply made documentaries that talk about these like development hell movies, and there's like 6 hours of Superman stuff between like all the never made Superman movies, and they're so addicting. And I watched the Hulk. Like an hour and a half on how the Hulk movies never or eventually did get made. And it broke down. It also went off on a wild tangent about Jack Kirby and Stan Lee's fight over rights and ownership in comics. And I'm like, I adore this channel. Like it's just everything for me.
I ran across one of those. I didn't watch it, but
I think you would like it.
They're in my feed. I think it might be in my feed because of you, but
I think I gave it to you. I think I sent you a link. Yeah. Like it's really good, man. It's really good.
There was one about the sorry, Dave. There was one about the Superman fifth movie.
The fifth movie that never got made. There's there's 4 in a row. They do that one, the one that written by Carrie Bates that never got made, and it transitions into the Superman Lives movie that John Peters headed up. And then it transitions into the Superman Flyby movie that J.J. Abrams and McG were going to make. Mm-hmm. And then that transitions into the Superman Batman movie that Wolfgang Peterson was going to make. So it's like all this. What's astonishing me is the amount of money that Warner Brothers spent on movies that never got made. It's mind-boggling. But it's great. It makes for great documentary material. It's such a good YouTube channel. Super Void Cinema. Can't say enough good things about it.
I'd like to see one on the Marvel, like because we've talked about behind the scenes of the Snyder Cut and like how that would make a cool movie, but like the Marvel Cinematic Universe and they
have an Iron Man one.
They have one. How about a Spider-Man one that goes all the way back to the 80s when they first promised the Spider-Man movie?
They have that, but they focus specifically on the James Cameron one.
Oh, okay.
But they have that. They're like that. You go on the channel. I think there's like 15 of them. They also do like other movies that weren't superhero that never got made, like Schwarzenegger's Crusades movie that Paul Verhoeven was supposed to make that never got made, or this big epic. I haven't watched yet. This epic Paradise Lost film that was supposed to get made that never did. There's like 3 or 4 alien ones because there's been a bunch of alien movies that never got made. And it's just like stuff like this. These development hell movies fascinate me because these studios spend so much money on things that are getting made. Like they had the Hulk one I just watched last night. They had an animatronic Hulk, a fully operational animatronic Hulk that they never used. It never got used for anything. And it's just like, it astounds me. It's like, I mean, it was like 30, it was like 20 feet tall or something stupid.
I still want it.
I can't fathom the amount of money these studios piss away on nothingness. And my favorite part is they go, oh, they loved this script by so-and-so. So then they hired this guy to rewrite it. And it's like, no wonder Hollywood is broke. Yeah. Like we love this idea. Who can rewrite it? And what they wind up getting is always mediocre anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only the best movies you've ever seen have been the ones that they paid some writer who had a really great idea, but they never interfered with him, and they
Or
just
director, yeah.
yeah, or director, and they just
Yeah.
let them do their
It's-
thing.
it's-
And immediately after they get famous and it gets popular, that's when the studio steps in and starts to ruin it.
Well,
Well,
that's what's made Marvel work, is that because they function as their own studio, they don't have draft after draft after draft after draft after draft after draft of these things, right?
Yeah,
Like
they're not trying to triangulate the four quadrants, right?
Feige's like, this is what I want. Let's find the right people to do it.
Mhm.
And he's handled it much more like TV, and it's worked.
And it's people that love, like, not even just finding people that love the characters and the stories, but finding the people for the right tone. Like the difference of the tone between
You're right.
Guardians of the Galaxy, WandaVision, and now this Winter Soldier and Falcon.
To be fair, and you watch these videos, they do hire people with it, and they deliver a draft, and sometimes it freaking sucks, and sometimes it's great, and they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do from there. There's this He-Man one that I saw. It's like 2 hours on He-Man.
Oh God.
And it's like
He-Man,
fascinating.
yeah, I'm sure it's.
There was
I can't believe it's only 2 hours.
There's like a thing on a 2009 He-Man movie that would have been like epic, and I'm watching them talk, because they'll talk about the script, they'll break down the script and what happens, and they'll use cartoons or stuff or clips from other movies to like do. I don't know how they're getting away with this, to be quite honest with you, but like they show like a simulation of what the story could be, and I'm watching something like, this would have been epic, and of course the studio went nah, and that just. It leaves me just like, it makes me angry at Hollywood and happy that I chased other dragons and didn't want to keep being a filmmaker. But it's fascinating TV. Super Void Cinema.
All right.
Dave, how about you?
I will recommend that you go to superheroespeak.com, where you can find the podcast every week and comic reviews by our good friend D Square. And also head on over to YouTube, where you can find this video every week, and subscribe to us, give us a like, leave a comment, help us break through that algorithm so more people can find us. And again, I'm not going to go into details about a crazy week I had, but I have started meditating, and I would highly recommend that if you have stress in your life, meditation is key. So yeah, I think people should try that. And yeah, that is my recommendation for the week. John's looking at me like I'm crazy.
No, I've tried meditation before, but I just couldn't keep my concentration. It's really hard to meditate when you're ADHD.
Yes, I believe you, but it's possible. So on that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for hanging out. Don't let your cape get caught in the door. Have a good week.